Welcome to the We Are VIP podcast. Each week, your host, Casey Hasten, Director of Recruiting at VIP, will bring you valuable insights from thought leaders, introduce you to incredible companies, and bring you tips for landing your dream job from our team of executive recruiters at VIP. And now, Casey Hasten.
Welcome to the We Are VIP podcast, a podcast devoted to adding value to your career or candidate search, brought to you by VIP. I'm your host, Casey Hasten. I'm an executive recruiter, director of recruiting with VIP, and your all-around hiring guru. Today on the show, I'd like to welcome Toye Penny, Luxury Well-Being Strategist and author of Love Them, Love You More. Toye's focus is helping celebrity CEO moms find a balanced life. While her strategies focus on serving working moms, the principles she teaches can help anyone be successful at both work and home. Toye, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is exciting. I love it when I meet fascinating women like yourself that have such a great story, but they're also doing great things for people in the world.
Yes.
And I think that we need more people doing great things for other people.
I truly believe that as well. Truly.
Well, you're doing that. So
Thank you so much.
tell me a little bit about your work on, as a well-being strategist. What does that even mean?
Wow. So a luxury well-being strategist is, I'm more like the person behind the scenes, helping this celebrity or this high-performing CEO mom just really navigate through her life, through her career, through her marriage, through her food, through everything. I'm like her best friend on steroids, basically. So my team and I are behind the scenes, and we are really just helping her with her complete well-being, and we're guiding her through the Love You More method.
I love this, and I want to dig into that a little bit more here in just a minute, but let's do it now. Your Love You More method is an amazing concept you've created to help working moms, celebrities, entrepreneurs, public figures, influencers, anybody who needs it, right?
Right.
Specifically those moms. But can you tell us more about the method specifically?
Sure. So in order to understand the method, you sort of have to understand my story just a bit. And I'll briefly just run through that. But I had a lot of childhood trauma growing up. I lost my mother to lupus at the age of about 9 years old.
Wow.
I didn't know my father until I was about 18. I was sexually abused at 13, and I became a teenage mom by the age of 16. And so I knew that I wanted to up level and provide for my daughter. I just didn't know how that was going to look. Y'all, long story short, I got hired at this high-end luxury day spa, which introduced me to this luxury world. And so I was running this company. I was 23 years old. The owner came to me and asked me if I wanted to buy the place. So I'm 23, running this company, single mom, had 15 employees. But what I noticed was I was really high performing. I had a flexible lifestyle, financially flexible, providing for my daughter and everything. But I noticed that I began to develop this facade of I have it all together in my career. Simultaneously, things on the back end were falling apart. So long story short, I ended up doing research, and I realized that there are a lot of celebrity and high performing, not only CEO moms, but a lot of high performers. They really dive into their work. They really dive into what they are called to do, but yet they suffer on the back end. So we have a lot of people who are committing suicide. We have a lot of people who are, maybe high on drugs, get drunk every day, whatever it is. They are really trying to cope with life. Now, everything looks good on the front end, but they are struggling on the back end. So that's what the Love You More method basically is about. It is my story and their story as well.
Excellent. And I was just thinking as you were saying that, it is so true. And there are so many women that, and not just women, just people in general,
yes,
that put up that false face that everything's fine.
Exactly.
When it on the back end, just like you said, it's falling apart.
It's falling all apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I may need to read your book.
yes. And ultimately, I would like, and this is basically because these CEOs, these celebrities, these CEOs, these leaders, they're leaders.
Yeah.
They're leaders and they set the example for others. And so that's what the Love You More method really is about. It's about pouring into yourself. It's a luxury self-development well-being program, and it's specifically designed for these high performers so that they can ultimately model well-being for generations to come.
That is beautiful. So how would you take some of those principles and break those down so that they could apply to anybody, not just somebody that's a high performer, but somebody who may just be working a job but still getting burnt out?
Exactly. So, as you know, my experience is I'm a woman, and I was a mom at the same time, or I am a mom at the same time, and so that is my experience. So I'm experienced in, as a high performing CEO mom, but the Love You More method can work for absolutely anybody. It can work for children, it can work for men, it can work for single women, it can work for your grandma, your grandpa. I believe that self-development is something that we truly all need. A lot of us are really pouring into things that are outer. And if we only just pour into ourselves, if we only just can, really just engulf and embrace who we are, that way we can really handle and sustain the life that we live, and set the example for the rest of the people that is connected to us.
Well, you said something just then that I really found interesting, that so many of us are focused on the outer.
Yes.
And could you tell us a little bit more about what you mean there?
Yeah, so I think a lot of us are focused on, maybe you ran into somebody at Starbucks, maybe the Starbucks lady, maybe she had an attitude, maybe she had a bad day that day. And we are now reacting based off how she, served us our coffee that day. Maybe little Timmy spilt his chocolate milk, and now we are reacting off of how Timmy, spilt the milk, and now you have to clean it up when you just mopped the floors. Maybe the hubby came home or the wifey came home and they had a bad day at work, and they have an attitude. So now you have an attitude, and everybody in the whole house has an attitude, basically because something happened. Something is always going to happen, whether it's technology, whether it's the car, the dog, something is always going to happen. But you know what? We can always control how we react to it. And if we're pouring into ourselves, if we are really just really pouring into and engulfing in our own selves, then when things happen, we don't have to, flip over or spill everything or curse anybody out. And then on top of that, we have others watching us.
That is very true. So let's take it back to the workplace for a second. I know one of the things that you really want to help your high achievers obtain is that work-life balance. So what does it mean, and how do you achieve work-life balance?
Wow. So honestly, this word self-care and work-life balance to me is just overused. It's like really overused. Honestly, there is no balance. Every single day, when you are a leader and a parent at the same time, or even if you're not a parent, or when you're a leader, there's not one day that looks the same.
Yes.
Not one day.
Very true.
So one day you may wake up and you didn't get enough sleep. The next day you may had an accident. Every day has something that you're going to have to deal with. And so there is no balance. There is none. But what you need to understand is it's ever evolving. Everything is ever evolving. You are ever evolving. And so we need to understand that things are changing. Things are changing. And as they're changing, you are changing, and everybody that's connected to you is changing. So I just truly, that word is just overused to me. It's just overused.
I like that you said that, because a lot of people will say, that work-life balance, and, there's times when I will work till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, but then there's other times when I'll get off at 3, or I may not go in until 9:30 or 10.
Exactly.
So, and that's a flexibility that I'm afforded, but still I think that, just because I may work 10 hours one day, but not the next day, that doesn't mean that I'm out of balance.
Exactly.
And I love that you just kind of gave people permission to embrace that.
Exactly. And I think we definitely need to embrace that every day will not look the same.
Yep.
It will not look the same.
So how can someone that is not a working mom truly benefit from your teachings?
Sure. So, first of all, I did not explain, how I broke down the Love You More method, but I will, explain it right now. So it's your well-being. I separated your well-being into two separate parts: your primary elements of your well-being and your secondary elements of your well-being. So your primary elements, they nourish you, but they don't come on your plate. So your primary elements are things like your mental and emotional peace, your relationships that nurture your soul, a meaningful spiritual practice, a thriving career, empowering physical activities, intentional quality sleep. And those are your primary elements. Your secondary elements is your foods that advance your well-being, and those should be in alignment with you and your body. So if you are indulging on your primary elements of your well-being, then you tend to underindulge on your secondary and vice versa. So this works in anybody's life, and anybody can use it. Like I said, I just really focus on these high performers who are mothers at the same time.
Well, and I love that you break it out so clearly into a primary and secondary. And just because I want to make sure that, because there's a lot in the primary, can we go through those one more time?
Sure. So your mental and emotional peace,
okay,
a meaningful spiritual practice, relationships that nurture your soul, never-ending self-investments, intentional quality sleep, empowering physical activities, and a thriving career. So when I work with my clients, I see them basically every other week. And when we are in working together, we go through all 8 elements. Mm-hmm. Now, everybody's completely different. What you are going through in your mental and emotional peace is not the same as mine. Mm-hmm. So I would basically strategize with my clients, and then we would come up with strategies of how you would handle your situation. So say, for instance, your mental and emotional peace, you were struggling with your relationship with your mother, and that was hindering you from moving to the next level. Maybe it was something from childhood. And so now you and I would basically work together, and I would develop those strategies. We would develop them together. But then not only that, I hold you accountable in between those times that we're not seeing each other. So I hold you accountable. I'm calling you, you're calling me, we're FaceTiming, whatever it is. You may even get in an argument with your mother, and then the next day you're like, Toy, I got in arguing with my mom. What do I need to do next? So I'm guiding you through the whole step, the whole way through.
So I feel like that's a little bit more than just a coach.
Oh yeah, it's way more.
Okay.
It's way more. That's why I said I'm your best friend on steroids.
Seems like you truly are. So
yes.
What techniques do you teach your clients to effectively reduce stress and get results?
Well, I think right now, this mental space is, it's really big right now. It's, we have so many people committing suicide, and mental health is, we're talking about that. So we're gonna aim towards the mental and emotional peace. What's stealing your mental and emotional peace? What is it that you are struggling with? And a lot of times I always like to say, we need to monitor what's going into our gates. Mm-hmm. And when I say gates, I mean your ear gates, your mouth gates, your eyes. I don't think enough of us, and this is including our children, enough of us are not monitoring what we're listening to. We're not monitoring what we're watching. We're not monitoring what we're putting into our mouths. And so these things affect us. Whether you realize it or not, it is affecting you. It is going into your spirit. It's going into your body. It's going into your soul. And you are absorbing whatever you're listening to. You're absorbing whatever you're eating. You are absorbing this. And not only that, you are now pushing it out into the world. Whether you have children or, like I said, whether you have staff, team members, whatever, they are looking up to you and they are watching you. They are listening to you. You know, they are hearing everything that you say. So we need to monitor what goes into our gates. We really do. Let's monitor what's going into our gates, because what goes in is going to come out. It is going to come out.
I love that you said it. I've never heard it that way before. I've always heard garbage in, garbage out, but I love the gates analogy, because it makes a lot of sense. These are the gateways to your health, your eyes, your brain, your
exactly.
And it is so important. And I catch myself, like, if I listen to too much news, I can't do it.
Yep.
It just totally depresses me.
Exactly.
And so I have to shut it off and not listen to it.
You got to shut it off. So you got to know when to cut it off. You got to know, okay, I've had enough. It's enough, and let's cut it off. So this self-mastery is key. Yeah.
Just self-mastery, also known as self-discipline.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why you need Toye in your corner.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and really just, I think about the time spent, you know, that is spent on Netflix and on all those streaming, you know, platforms and all that stuff. And I take it seriously at the end of each week when I get that screen time report. And if it's up, I get really upset with myself. And I absolutely vow to do better the next week. So I don't want to be one of those people that's constantly glued to my phone. That's not healthy either.
Oh no, that's not healthy at all. So yes, like I said, let's monitor that. Let's monitor our gates.
I can already see it. I've got, this is going up on my wall somewhere. Monitor your gates, because I love that.
You hold the key to the gate.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
You just keep dropping them.
You hold the key.
So tell us more about your book and what readers can learn from it.
Wow. So the book is called Love Them, Love You More, and it's 8 elements to redefine your priorities of well-being. And it's a correlation of the Love You More method, and my story. I go into depths about my story. I mean, it's a tearjerker. It really is, because I really had, a traumatic childhood, as I explained before, but I go into depths in the book. So the first part of it is basically my story, so that you can understand how I got there, and then how the Love You More method was created and how it was born. And so then I go into the Love You More method, all the 8 elements. I have tips and everything of each element in there. And then I end the book in recipes, because you just gotta love recipes.
like cooking recipes?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Interesting. So why the recipes?
Because remember, secondary is the foods that advance your well-being. And so that's a huge part of, you're putting in, this is what you're putting into your body. And a lot of times we are putting this stuff into our bodies or into our minds, whatever it is. And it's hindering us. It's slowly killing us from getting to the next level and serving in our purpose. So a lot of us, I know somebody who has died prematurely, either because of disease or stress or whatever it is. And so food is a huge part in it. So I want to include that, because not enough of us is really monitoring, our food and how it needs to be in alignment with our bodies.
I've learned a really great lesson lately on that, because I was one of those that could eat whatever I wanted for the longest time, because I was very active and all that kind of stuff, but also just had a really high metabolism. And then I got a little bit older and couldn't do that so much anymore. And it was really interesting, because I was working with a nutritionist, and I thought the key was to starve myself, not to eat less calories, right?
Wow.
And what she had me do was start eating more, because I was not eating enough calories throughout the day.
Wow. So
eating more, and I actually started losing weight. It's because my body wasn't like, hold on to that next meal. We don't know when she's going to eat again.
Right.
Right.
And so I always talk about, I know everything needs to be in alignment. We all need to be in alignment. That includes your food. So your food needs to be in alignment with you and your body. And so, for instance, if my clients if you enroll in the Love You More method, I also provide a food sensitivity test. I provide lab work in general, but there's 4 different ones, but one of them is a food sensitivity test, also a gut health test. So the food sensitivity test, it tells you basically, and it tells me what you are eating every single day that slowly taking you away from your purpose. And when I tell you I did a food sensitivity test, and you would think, what? I'm telling you, green beans, I was highly sensitive to, highly. So internally, it's killing me slowly. That every time I ingest green beans, it's slowly killing me. Chicken, for me, I was highly sensitive to chicken. Highly sensitive. So those are the things that I'm saying. We need to be in alignment. Everything needs to be in alignment. So when you are eating things that are out of alignment, now your body starts to bloat, or you start to break out, or then these diseases start to come in, all of these things, because after a while, your body can't take all of that. You're eating out of alignment this whole time. And now your body says, look, I can't handle it. And now it starts turning into a dis-ease.
Wow. I think I want to do that food sensitivity test.
Yes.
How long does it take?
Oh, it's about 10 minutes. All you do is prick your finger, do the blood, send it to the lab work.
Oh, so you're not having to eat food for a week?
No.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Huh.
Prick your finger, do the blood, and send it off to the lab.
I wonder how accurate that is. You feel like it's pretty accurate?
Oh, it's very accurate. Very accurate.
How can I tell from my blood that I couldn't tolerate chicken?
I'm telling y'all.
And green beans, that's really specific.
I can't do chicken or green beans.
What do you eat? That would just leave salmon if you want to eat healthy.
Yep. That's all I really, I don't, so I've after a while, I just noticed that my body couldn't handle beef or anything, but I can and that's one of the great things about being self-aware, because now you are realizing that, wait a minute, I don't feel the same after I ate this. I'm a little bloated, or, my energy levels, and I'll say this. So about beef, I teach people a lot about the emotions of food, because food they have emotions as well. And so if you think about a cow it moves very slow. It grazes through the grass, and it moves very slow. Well, I'm a fast-paced person. I walk fast, I talk fast, I'm a very upbeat, and cows, their energy basically does not match with my energy. And so therefore it digests very slow through my system, and it keeps me dragging down. So my energy does not match with the cow.
That's so interesting. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, so food has energy as well. And that's why I said it needs to be in alignment. Everything needs to be in alignment.
Okay. Well, I might have to do that sensitivity test, because I'm pretty sure what I had for lunch today was I'm probably pretty sensitive too.
Yeah.
So, as a successful entrepreneur, what is one piece of advice you can give others that you wish you knew at a younger age?
I'm going to say self-mastery. If I knew what I know now, man, I would have been a lot further. But I have a great life. I'm not going to say I had, but I have a great life. And I honestly believe when you are really pouring into yourself, there's nothing else, nobody else can take that away from you. They can take your car, they can take your house, they can take all of the little everything on the outside, but nobody can take what you pour into yourself and how you master yourself. Nobody can take that.
Wow.
Nobody.
Mic drop. We're done.
Mic drop. Yes.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Nobody can take that.
Oh my goodness. So usually I start off the show with this question, but I want to kind of wrap it up before we get to our VIP questions today. But, I'm a firm believer in networking. I'm a firm believer in making sure that, we're continuing to introduce. I mean, I just introduced you to somebody right before we walked in here to do this podcast.
She really did.
And so I would love for you to share with the audience, how did we meet?
We met at Success North Dallas. You know what? It's funny because I feel like it's like a whole dating thing. I walked in the room, and she probably don't even remember this, but I walked in the room. She's like, "Oh, girl, I love those shoes. I have to have those shoes." And so that was the conversation starter. It was the shoes.
I could totally see me saying that, and probably me going, but I would never wear them.
And she said that.
Those would kill my feet.
She said that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, we've met a lot of great people at Success North Dallas, but I love that we continued the relationship afterwards, that it wasn't just, a connection. It really has evolved into a relationship because we both took the time to pour into each other as well as pouring into ourselves. So
exactly.
That's so important.
Yes, very important. Very.
Okay, so now I'm going to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
Here's our VIP questions.
Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
So if you were chosen to be one of the first colonists on Mars, what 3 things or people would you take with you?
So first of all, I wouldn't go to Mars. Second of all, we need a toilet. I would take some food, toilet, and my cell phone.
That's awesome.
Yes.
First toilet we've ever gotten.
Yes, we need a toilet. They don't have. What do they have? They don't have anything on Mars. They don't have anything. So yeah, I would share.
Would you share your toilet?
I would share with others.
Okay.
Yes,
that's awesome. What is one thing you do each day to set your day up for success?
Oh my gosh. Every single day I pour into my soul. Every single day. Every single day. I remind myself of the truth of who I am, of who I was created to be. That's very important. Very important, not only for myself, but for all of us. A lot of us, are suffering with imposter syndrome. You don't really measure up, or, I'm not good enough, and just all, and comparison on social media. Remind yourself and your children of the truth of who they are. So important. So important.
I could not agree more. I mean,
yeah, so important.
Social media.
Yeah, so important. I have 3 daughters. My oldest is now 23. I have a 4-year-old daughter and I have a 7-year-old daughter. But the other day, my 7-year-old daughter came home and she said, "You know what, Mom?" She said, "Mom, one of the kids at school called me skinny and it didn't even bother me." And I said, "Really?" Her name is Summer. So I said, "Summer, really?" And I said, "Why did it not bother you?" And she said, "Because I know the truth."
Oh man, that had to make you proud as a mama.
So I'm telling y'all, if you know the truth about yourself, then you can instill the truth about your children so that when the world tells them what they're not, they already know. They already know. So as they grow up into adults, they already know the truth of who they are.
That is beautiful. That is so, man, you're on a roll today.
Oh, I'm on a roll. Girl, I'm telling you, this is real. This is real.
So if your life's work was being summarized in a news article, what would the headline be?
It's time to model well-being for generations to come.
There you go. How do people find you?
I'm Toye Penny everywhere. ToyePenny.com, official_Toye Penny on Instagram, Toye Penny on LinkedIn. It's Toye Penny. Toye Penny. Toye Penny.
Toye Penny in the house.
Yes.
Well, Toye, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I just have one last thing to say to you.
Yes.
You are a VIP.
Oh, I love it.
And that's a wrap for today. Join us next week here on the We Are VIP podcast. We'd love to know how we can help you be a VIP. To find out more, log on to wearevip.com.